All right, guys, welcome back to this lesson. In the last lesson, we said we were going to go ahead and create a form, so let's go ahead and do that. If we head back over here to the app here, we'll see that if someone goes to the post form, then we check to see, well, did they go to post form or did they go to post form slash and then give us an ID? So we check, does that post ID exist? And if so, then we're going to update the post. Otherwise, we're going to create a new post. What we're interested in here is if they do not give us a post ID and they just want to create a new post, brand new post, no previous ID. So here we go. Instead of returning this text here, let's go ahead and return a template. This template doesn't exist yet, but we're going to add it here in just a second. So let's call this template post form.html. There we go. We're not going to pass in any arguments because we're just going to be creating some HTML to create a form. So now inside of views, I'm going to create that post form.html file. And now that we've created that, we can go ahead and, just like we did before, I'm going to go ahead and copy all this and put it in here. Now, we don't want hello world, this is my site, yada yada. Instead of that, we might want, say create a new post, right? So after that, we just want a form, and this is super simple if you know your HTML. If not, just follow along with these HTML tags, and I do recommend going and finding an HTML course. It's pretty easy to catch up on HTML, so you can do that pretty quickly. But the important thing is here, we're creating a form. When you create a form, there's two important things, the action and the method. Now the method, if you remember, we want it to be post. And the reason that is because when someone sends a GET request to post form, we want to give them a page, just like we do right here. So they go to blog/post form, we return a template. Well, if they send a post request to blog/post form, we want to create that post. So when they submit the form, what it's going to do, and this is just generic normal HTML behavior, it sends a post request if you set the method equal to post. I could also set the method equal to get, and it would send a GET request, but then it would just re-render this template, because when someone sends a GET request, we tell them to re-render. We tell them to render this template right here. So we want to send it as a post request. So in the form method, we want to tell it to be a post, so that again, we can do all sorts of fun logic on the back end. So now that we have that method in there, what about the action? Well, the action is, if you haven't guessed, where we send this request. So the method is the type of request, and the action is the where. So it's just /blog/post form, right? And that is defined right here. So a post request on blog/post form, boom, we'll get control of it and we can do whatever we want here, and you'll see that in just a moment. But now that we've got that action and method filled in, let's go ahead and add our inputs. Inputs are pretty easy. You don't even need a closing tag for inputs. So for this one, it's just an input of type text. And let's go ahead and save this and go see how this looks. So if we reload here, give it a second, there we go. Create a new post, and you'll see here I have a input right here. And if I hit enter, it sends us to details for new post ID, because right now that is what happens when a post request gets sent. We just do that right there, and you should remember that from a previous lesson. Now you'll notice there's no submit button, but I hit the enter button and that submits the form. There's a few different ways to submit a form, one of them being hitting the enter button, one of them being hitting a submit type input, one of them being hitting a button that is of type submit as well. But we're just going to keep it simple and use a input as well. So you can go ahead and copy paste that input and change it from type of text to type of submit. And you'll notice that this is such a common thing that here when we reload, this button already says submit. That's already a common enough thing that that's just the generic default behavior. However, here, there's one last thing we want to do. So we have this input type text, right? We can type whatever we want here, a new post, right? We can do that and we can submit. Here's the thing. In order to grab that value, the server needs to know, well, which input am I grabbing the value from? And the way it does that is by way of another parameter called name. So this name is going to be set equal to, for me, I'm just going to set it equal to post title. You can set it equal to title, whatever you want. I'm going to set it equal to post title. Now, what that does is say on the server side, I am now going to be able to say get me the value of the input field whose name was post title. And then it'll know which one to grab because we set the name right here. And likewise, we could define other ones. We could define post content right here, right? And then we have two input fields. So you could do that very well. I'm not going to do that here. We're just going to have the post title. Like I said before, we're just going to be doing titles. That's enough to as a proof of concept for this exercise. So I'm also going to edit the title, which if you hadn't noticed what the title is right here. So if I save this and I come back here, you'll see up here I have, it just says localhost 8080 blog/post form. Because I haven't given it a title, it just grabs this data right here. But I'm going to set this title equal to new post, right? And there we go. And now it says new post. But because this is going to be updating as well in the future, I'm just going to say this is post form. That lets the user know, what tab is what and what are they. We can see my site. This is welcome to my blog. So we should probably fix that as well, actually. Let's come over here and let's say this is my blog. So if now, when we reload, my blog, we can tell right here by post form, this is a post form. We can tell right here by the title, my blog, this is going to be the blog homepage. So that just gives the user a heads up, in the tab right there, as well as semantically helps with your Google rank searches and all that fun, annoying stuff. But that being said, that's all the title is, so you can change that to whatever you like. So now that we have this form, I say let's go to the server side and start grabbing some data. So here we go. Again, we first check, is there a post ID? Did they send us this route or did they send us this route? If there is a post ID, we're going to update an existing post. But in our case, we're just creating a new post. So let's go ahead and do that. Here we have print create a new post. We're not going to need that anymore because we're actually going to be doing something. We don't need placeholder text. We're also going to be able to get an actual post ID. So we're going to delete that as well. Now, in order to do this, we're going to be able to grab that data that we got before. So let's go ahead and print it out just to see it real quick. So I'm going to say request.forms.post title. Now you'll notice here, request, this is a bottle parameter basically that we get that's going to have a whole bunch of information out on it. If you want to see all that information, go ahead and just print out request. We'll go ahead and do that actually and see what that looks like. I'm not sure if it'll print out very well or not because it's an object, so it might not print out very pretty, but we'll go ahead and see. So let's save that. We'll come over here, reload yet again. Here we go. New post, submit, and let's see what it printed out. Local request. So this is what it printed out right here. So you can't exactly see that right there, but let's go ahead and print out. Request has a property on it called forms. Let's print that out. Request.forms. Now, if we reload, oh no. But here's what we want. We want to resubmit. So let's reload, new post, submit it. Here we go. See what it printed out. Bottle.forms dictionary object, right? So it's a form dictionary object. One of the properties on that object is going to be all the inputs that we sent the form. And that one of those inputs was post title. If you remember, we named it post title. So it created it on that request.forms object for us. So now we can get that. Now if we print that out, and we come over here and we go back and let's go to post form. That's where we want to be. Post form, new post, take 3, submit that. If we come here, we see printed out right here, new post, take 3. So now we can see that we can grab that title right there, right? So let's set that equal to a variable. Let's say post title equals request.forms.post title. Easy enough. Now we are going to append that to, let's print that out actually. Let's see it just again so we can see that it is working with the variable. Create a new post and then just print out that post title. And we'll see that later when we go ahead and test this. But what we're going to want to do, since this is just an array of strings, let's just add our array of strings. Or let's just add this new post title to our array of strings. So let's go ahead and do that. That's easy enough in Python. It's just posts dot append post title. There we go. Now the only problem here is we don't actually have access to posts unless we say global posts. So it knows that we're trying to use that global post that we defined up above. Now it'll go ahead and work. Now, one last thing, we want to get this new post ID, right? So we appended it to our posts array, so therefore we have created the post in our memory of our backend server. So it's there, so we should be able to get an ID. Now, we're not actually going to do it right now. I think we'll do that next lesson, because right now we don't have any way, if we go to /blog/1, and if we reload here, it just says details for 1. So it's not really doing anything yet, the post ID. It just kind of prints out that value. So it could be whatever we want. So let's just set it equal to something as a placeholder for now. So post ID equals new post ID. There we go. Now that we have that, if we go ahead and come back to our server, and we just go to the blog/post form, there we go. Now we're going to say test post, submit, and here we go. Details for new post ID. There we go, new post ID. And you'll see here we're printing out create a new post, test post. So if we come back to our blog, we should see, instead of 2, we should see, and for some reason the server reloaded there, which is annoying. So we're just going to go to post form again and say test post 2, submit it. Now go back to the blog homepage. There we go. Test post 2. Instead of just the 2 that we started with, we see the third one as well now added to that post array. So there you go. Now in the next lesson, we are going to go ahead and look at using that post ID. So we're actually going to create it as an actual post ID, post number 3, and then be able to do something depending on what the post ID they send us is here in this blog/post ID to get the post details. So I'll see you there.